What's going on, guys? Greg here. I got another video for you today. Once again, it's another DV6, Darth Vader Episode 6 saber. This one is for Dorian. He asked me to give him a shout out, so there you go. So sorry, it was a little bit of a delay, so this is a little bit later than I was expecting. And thank you for being really patient with me. I was moving back into school and I was getting everything settled. And so in the past month and a half, I've only actually completed 2 sabers, which is not the pace that I like to go at, but hey, it happens. But so yeah, thank you for your patience. But anyways, we have, like I said, a DV6 saber. Internally, we have a Prizm V5, a Darth Ryo Knight chassis. Yeah, Knight chassis. A cree LED with, it's either deep red, white, or red, white. I forget. It's whatever the customer ordered. It just, I had the parts for so long, so I'm not positive. I believe it's deep red. Accurate blade plug from TCSS. I painted the top accurate. I told the customer this already, but it's not powder coated. It's spray paint and then sealed with a clear coat. I don't PC, but I always do that for any of this saber because it looks so much nicer. Like I said, it looks good. It's on there, but if you start banging it up against stuff, it will start to chip. And so, I mean, it's something you technically could fix yourself, but like I said, try not to hit the actual emitter part, which you should never have an issue with. Before I get to the internals, just one note for the customer about, put that down, about the blade plug. So the customer had asked me to use this right here as the blade retention screw, and it just didn't work out because of the way that the chassis sits in, because it's the Knight chassis. And so what I ended up doing for you was the LED retention screw is internal, so you won't ever hurt that. And both of these can be your blade retention screw, but this one is the important one. So if you look really closely in there, you can see that there's just a slight gap that you can't even tell. That's because when this is not tight, this entire piece will wiggle, and you obviously don't want to listen to that. And so this one always has to be as tight as can be. This one will also butt up against the blade plug, but doesn't need to be tight. And you never want to crank this one down because it's such a weird grip, but it does screw in. So this one, you always want to have, thumb tight, really light. This one you always want to have as tight as you can get it because it's got that knurling on the. You can see that it has the knurling on there, so it's easy to grip and it's easy to untwist. So if you untwist that, blade plug pops out. There's your LED, pops back in, and then I adjusted the internal LED module height so that this should always sit flat. So, and like I said, normal thumb tight. This one, you want to make sure that's in, and then really give it a crank down, because now there's no wiggle, no extra noise. Let's see. Okay, so internally I'm going to show you the chassis, and then what I did for the customer, I talked to him about this, was because I took a little bit longer than I'd like to. I, for him, added a couple accent LEDs in here that are not showing right now because the board's in standby. Is in deep sleep mode right now. So there's 2 accent LEDs in here. You have your crystal chamber illuminated. Like I said, this is a Darth Ryo Knight chassis. You have your recharge port, which you have a charger that'll come with it. Box is a little messed up. It's brand new. And then SD card access here. Okay, so you always want kill key in when you gain access to the SD card. And a note for you is that if you look, there's a slot in the kill key. So you'll know there's no power to the board if these 2 crystal lights are out. If they're on at all, do not take the SD card out because that could damage it. So you take this, you put it in the recharge port, and make sure that slot is not. There's a tab in here that if it lines up with it, it'll turn on, so you can twist this to turn it on. I don't like to use it, so just push it in. Make sure the crystal goes out. And if it does, then you can turn this back over here. This door slides up, and then SD card access is right there. And then you can take, as long as there's no power, you're fine. I'm using an Allen wrench right now. Just in, and then press to pop. Oops, you can see that the SD card popped out. You would go into the pair of like needle nose pliers I use right here, grab the SD card, pull it out, put it back in if you ever want to make modifications. And then you hear that click to go back in, so you know it's set. And then you can pull the cookie in.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
As I say in every single video, is that I'm at school, so I have roommates. You can see one of those accent LEDs. I'm at school, so I have roommates, and so I turn the power, no, not the power, the volume down to 2, and I'll turn it back up before I ship it. And it's, the settings are all configured with the power, or with the volume on 4, so it'll be nice and loud for you. I just do that for here because I want to keep them happy. And then before you turn it on, you want to slide this door back down, because when it's up, it butts up against the board a little bit and rattles, so you want that down closer to the speaker, okay? So I'm going to fire it up first without the cover on, and I explained to the customer that we decided to have more sensitive settings when the cover's on, so you want to be careful. You don't want to swing this around too much with the cover off, with the pommel off, because it's a crystal chamber, it's sensitive. You don't want to be full dueling with this. So we'll get this fired up, and yeah, so press. See, so you get your 2 accent LEDs, crystal chamber, which is very nicely illuminated. 1, 2, 1, 2. Top is power, bottom is your auxiliary, so you press if you want a blaster, or you hold if you want lockup. And the customer had it where there's a new mode for the blaster where you can press it, where it makes the noise and then it waits for the travel time of the bullet. It's in the bolt config file. So it has that time of travel, so it makes it more realistic. That's what the customer wanted, so that's what it is. So just so you kind of see what it looks like. And again, if you need to ever change that, let me know, we can fix it. And then hold for lockup. Okay. Let's see. Then because the sound is so low right now, there's none of those false swings that I was talking about. But if it was up on 4, you might get some of those because of how sensitive we have the settings. Like I said, this should more be sitting if you want to turn it on like this, because you don't want to swing it too much with all the awesomeness going on right here. Okay, then press and hold to turn off. So on off, to change sound fonts, you press and hold the auxiliary button. That was really low, sorry about that. I said give yourself to the dark side. Again, sound's turned down. But so yeah, you press and hold. I'm gonna turn this, put the pommel on now, so you kind of see how this goes. And then you just press to turn on. Oops. So yeah, you can remember, you can configure all these. It's pretty easy to do, so if you need help, talk to me about that. If you ever want to lock this in place, you can take it out and you can actually use a little bit of super glue. Some customers prefer that. And you can super glue it in place, because that can get annoying, depends on the customer. Also, you asked about a mute mode. So I'm going to run through all your fonts quickly, just the boots. Actually, no, let me see this 1 second. Okay, so this one has a flicker, like the customer asked. The next one, I'm not sure which one it is.
Show me again the power of the darkness, and I will finish
So this is Kylo Ren TFA HD by Shamim. And again, so this is going to be a very unstable flicker. Then the customer, this one I believe is the pulse that you talked about. This one's another flicker, so you can see the small flickers in there. This is Rogue One, I believe. They all sound so similar, and then
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
I know I do. Yes. Okay. So let me see if you can tell. Okay. So you can see that pulse, which is a Prizm setting. But you can see that pulse of the blade. So this one, I forget how you. I set it up the way the customer asked. It was a pulse on one, then flicker on two, and the Kylo was an extreme flicker. And then the last thing was a customer asked about mute mode. So the Prizm, what it allows is that as long as you're just on any font, you want to press the auxiliary and turn it on at the same time. So it's press, then press, and it should turn on to mute mode if I remember correctly. Yeah. So press and then quickly press this after and then release both. And now you're in a mute mode. So, I mean, technically the sounds are going on. You obviously just can't hear them. And then you can still, boom, still hold it. So it all works the same. And then I have it set up where powering off, it's going to make the noise so you know. Just that's so you know it's going off. But yeah, so just press, press. Ready? Press, press. There you go. And that works for every single font. I'm going to cut this video now because it's getting a little bit longer than I like to. But like I said, Dorian, like I say, I appreciate you waiting. That's why I wanted to hook you up with the extra LEDs in there to kind of make the crystal chamber stand out some. Like I said, I appreciate the waiting. I know it's not always easy because these things are so much fun, but it makes my life a lot easier knowing that I have customers that are willing to or that are understanding to wait. So I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, and so everything else is set. And this will be in the mail to you today, or it's actually probably already in the mail to you before I post the video. So, like I said, I appreciate everything, and I'll talk to you guys later.